Hello everyone. Welcome to Confessions Jury, where Reddit's AITAH stories go on trial. Make sure to listen carefully and express your verdict in the comments section below. Moving on to the first case. Case 1. Am I the bad person for telling my husband's affair baby's family to either come get the kid, or I'm calling Child Protective Services? With updates. My F53, soon-to-be ex-husband Roger, 47, whom I forgave for his affair, came home with a baby 4 months ago. His girlfriend, 22, could not handle it anymore and brought the baby to him at work and left. To the best of his knowledge, she is in Spain. I allowed him to stay, so long as I didn't have to do anything. Anything. Well, about a month ago Roger had a heart attack. It didn't kill him. More's the pity. But he is very weak and incapable of doing anything for himself. Since he isn't up and about, he cannot care for his child. He also cannot drop off and pick up his son at daycare. I have been helping, but I'm done. My kids are full grown. I shouldn't be having grandkids anytime soon. I do not have any desire to care for a baby. I told Roger that I want a divorce, and I contacted the mother's parents. I know the father through friends. I said they had until Friday to come get their grandchild, or I was calling Child Protective Services. They just left with the baby, but they scolded me for being so cold towards a baby that had done me no harm. I view that child differently. Roger is recovering, and I will be moving out. The house is in his name, but I have never contributed to it. I have the equivalent of 22 years of rent and interest put away. And as per our prenup, my savings are my own. I work, and I don't need anything out of this marriage except myself. My kids tried telling me to stay and help their father. I said that they were welcome to come over and help him with cleaning himself and the baby. Both declined what I felt was a fair offer. I do not feel that I am acting badly. However, Roger, our children, his child's family, and a few mutual friends think I am. Perhaps writing this out and seeing the responses will give me clarity. MH sounds like a complex case. Let's take a look at what the user said in her update. Update 1. I am no longer divorcing Roger. There were complications from his heart attack and he has passed away. I am conflicted. He was the love of my love, but also a cheating piece of trash. To the best of my knowledge, the mother will not return from Europe. The child is currently with her parents. They asked me what I wanted to do. I recommended adoption. Not that I adopt the child, that they put the child up for adoption. They didn't like that suggestion. Neither did my children. They said I am being cold and cruel. I suggested that since the child was related to them and not to me, that they step up. Neither has accepted that suggestion either. I was the sole beneficiary of Roger's estate, so I imagine lawyers will be involved in getting the child some sort of support. I will pay whatever is ordered by the court out of the estate. I will not pay 1 cent out of my money. That is all I have to say on this matter. This case keeps getting more and more difficult to analyze. Let's hear her final update. The girl's parents finally did the right thing and cut her off. I had passed along their contact information to several dozen Redditors who seemed eager to help. Just an email. I did not reveal their identities or even their names. I believe this pressure convinced them to act. They finally got the clue that I would in no way take any responsibility for the child. Between her parents no longer funding her and the current climate in Spain against visitors, the child's mother has returned. I have washed my hands of the entire situation, except for one thing. I have spoken with the lawyers, and I will be splitting some of Roger's estate into 3 parts for the children. My children will get theirs immediately as they are adults. The child's money will be going into a trust with his brother and sister as the trustees. This will take some doing, and as such will mean more money goes to the lawyers. Perhaps Shakespeare was correct with regards to that profession. My children are now less enthusiastic about their young sibling, but that is neither here nor there. They were the ones who insisted I involve myself. If there is anything left, when I pass, they can split that between themselves, as I will not be leaving anything to that child. Thank you all for your help in my reaching clarity. I was letting my anger cloud my judgment and sense of fairness. What do you think about this one? Lay down the hammer in the comments section, and let's move on to the second case. Case 2. Am I the bad person for refusing to lend my friend my house for her wedding after she asked me for a paternity test, resulting in her having to cancel the wedding? My friend Sandra and I have known each other for over 20 years. We are 30 to 32. Sandra is getting married to Andres, and I am married to Ian. Some relevant information. Andres and I originally come from the same country and even the same region. We share many characteristics. We both have very round faces, deep brown eyes, long straight black hair, etc. If you didn't know better, you might assume we are siblings. I met Andres 6 years ago and introduced him to Sandra. He proposed 2 years ago. I own a beautiful property in my home country that I was ready to lend to Sandra and Andres for their wedding. My property is like a finca and has 10 rooms. Usually, I would rent it out for weddings at a somewhat high price, but I was happy to give it to them at no cost, with the condition that they hire their own catering and have their guests strip their beds when they leave. The issue: 3 months ago, Sandra became more reclusive. She wouldn't answer my texts, and we didn't meet up. 2 weeks ago, she appeared at my door with Andres. They sat us down, my husband included, and said she suspected that my daughter is actually Andres' biological daughter and requested a paternity test for peace of mind. I was so shocked that I couldn't say anything. My husband lost his temper and raised his voice, telling Sandra that she was being absolutely stupid. Sandra pointed out that my daughter looks like Andres. I explained that Andres and I look alike. She kept shaking her head, saying my daughter would look more like my husband and not like my exact copy. The evening ended poorly. I agreed to the test if they paid for it. The results came back last Friday, showing that Andres was not the father. We also did a test confirming that my husband is the father. Sandra cried and tried to hug me. I told her I didn't want to, and that I didn't want to be friends with her for the time being. She kept saying her worries were justified and made a comment about women from your country being more likely to do that. In that moment, I was filled with anger. I told her she could forget about using the venue and that I didn't want her in my life anymore. She started crying, but I made her leave. Her mom and she have been texting me, saying they can't find a new venue. I still said no. 20 minutes ago, Sandra called me sobbing, saying that the wedding is off because of me. Am I the bad person? Should I have let her use the venue at the usual price? Or was what I did okay? What about that? Who would you rule for? State down your ruling, and let's move on to our third case. Case 3. Am I the bad person for robbing my wife's affair partner, which has now led to his divorce? I, 32, have been married to my soon-to-be ex-wife, 30, Madison, for 4 years. We are currently in counseling, but it is not going to work. About a year ago, I found out she was having an affair by coming home to their clothes in our living room and sounds coming from our bedroom. I lost it. I was getting my cricket bat out of the front closet when I stopped to think about consequences. I did not want to go to jail. Instead, I took all their clothes and left quietly. I went to a friend's house, but not before throwing all the clothes in a McDonald's garbage can. I turned off my phone and got shit-faced with my buddy. His wife hosed us off in the morning. After I turned my phone back on, I had dozens of calls and texts from Madison. First scared because she got my updated flight information. Then upset that I hadn't called her to let her know I was going to be coming home early. Then freaked out that the house had been broken into. Then crazy because she figured out it was me. They just got more deranged. The guy she was with is 5 inches shorter than me and about 60 pounds lighter. So if he had taken my clothes, it would be obvious. He ended up calling his friend to go get his spare keys from his house. Unfortunately for him, his wife smelled a rat and followed his friend back to my house, where she saw him leaving in oversized clothes. Long story short, she took pictures, and she had evidence of his infidelity, which caused their prenup to be canceled, which cost him a lot of money. It is all one big giant shit show. It took a couple of months, but my wife convinced me to try and forgive her. We started going to counseling, and we were working our way through it. Until recently, in a counseling session, she said that I was wrong to steal his wallet, phone, and car keys. She said that his divorce is costing him a lot of money, and that I should have dealt with it in a more mature manner, and that it was my fault. I have never admitted to taking his stuff. To begin with, I was afraid he might call the cops. Then I didn't want to give her ammunition in case she wanted a divorce. Now I just don't care. I told her that her cheating was the reason her boyfriend is getting divorced, and that I hope his ex takes everything. I am still not living at home. I have my own apartment, and I'm filing for divorce. Now that I know how she feels, it is kind of a slap in the face that she is blaming me for his divorce. What do you think the fair ruling should be? You hold the power of judgment. State your ruling in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. In life, we may run, but we can never hide from true justice. Stay safe, everyone.